Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a review on the new KYLIE Cosmetics The Bronze palette. This palette has taken social media by storm, and even KYLIE Cosmetics in general has really taken the beauty industry and social media by storm because she is growing so rapidly, so fast for a new kind of company in the beauty industry. So I finally was able to get my hands on this. I've heard so many things about it, both positive and negative, and I actually tried to get it as soon as I heard that it was a thing and that it was coming out. I think I originally saw on her Snapchat that she was coming out with this. I was very excited, especially because when I saw the colors, these are definitely kind of the colors that I would typically go for on a daily basis. So I knew that I wanted to get my hands on it, but it was very hard to actually get this bad boy, as with all of her new products when they launch. I was able to get it a few weeks ago, and I actually got lucky because when I ordered it, she was doing free shipping, so I was able to get it without having to pay for shipping, which was really nice. The palette does retail for $42, which is pretty standard for a high-end palette. If you walk into Sephora, most of those brands, if you find a palette that has the same amount of eyeshadows as this one does, it's going to be around that price. So I didn't think that it was too highly priced. Although I don't like paying for shipping on stuff, I typically always try and find free shipping whenever I shop online. So I was glad that I was able to get it with free shipping, but I know typically you are going to have to pay for shipping. So I've gotten the chance to try the palette out for about 2 weeks now. I've tried every single color and really kind of formulated my opinion on each of the shades in the palette as a whole. Overall, I do like the palette, but there are certainly things about it that I don't love as well, and things that I think should be improved on when she does come out with future palettes. So if you guys are interested in seeing my thoughts, then you know what to do. Just give this video a thumbs up and keep on watching. So we'll start with the outward packaging. I do really like the front. I like the eyes. I like how it has kind of the metallic drips. It's very edgy, very KYLIE in my opinion, so I do like that. I like how on the back she has her signature and how they do list the shade names here, as well as the ingredients and some other information, I believe. But what I wish they would have done is put these shade names on the inside of the palette. I don't think it would have really cost any more money to do that, and it would have made life a lot easier, especially for like YouTubers and stuff, for us to tell others what shade we're using rather than having to go and turn around to the back. That's just personal preference. I would prefer the shade names be inside, like underneath the shadows, but it's not that big of a deal. This is what the inside of the packaging looks like. This top flap right here I feel like is very flimsy. It kind of feels like it's just cardboard and it could easily be bent, but again, it's not the biggest issue. I do think that I really would have liked it if they would have put a mirror in here. Again, it would have cost more money. It might have made the price of the eyeshadow palette go up to maybe, let's say, $50 instead of $42. But for me personally, I would have liked if they would have put a mirror in here. I think it would have made it a little bit more luxurious. This is something that's very common in palettes, so it's not like just KYLIE Cosmetics has this issue where not all the shades are really of the same quality. I found this with many other palettes just because, you know, every time you make an eyeshadow, depending on the colors, it is going to make the formula a little bit different, so they're not always going to all be amazing, and I did find that with this palette, but like I said, this is very common in palettes. It's not like this is just something to KYLIE Cosmetics. As far as the actual shades inside the palette, I feel like KYLIE did a really good job of kind of covering all of her bases. She really did think it out. We have some nice neutral blending shades, we have a highlight, we have some shimmers, we have mattes, we have definer colors. She really did a good job of trying to make this palette appeal to someone who wants to do a whole eye look, which I really like. I feel like if I take this palette out, I don't have to be reaching for another palette or different shadows to complete the look. This kind of have everything that you need, which I really appreciate because I feel like so often so many companies neglect to put in neutral blending shadows or definer shades or highlight shades, and they just kind of give you like a few shades that they thought were pretty, but they didn't really think out creating an entire eye look, if that makes sense. Where with this palette, I can use this entire palette and do my whole eye look. I used it today on my eyes and did not use any other palettes, so I do really appreciate that. I do like the size of the palette as well. This would be very easy to throw into a purse or to travel with. I think a lot of times palettes, some companies just make them so much bigger than they really need to be. This one, they really didn't waste a lot of space. I think it's nice. It's an easy size to, again, throw in your purse and bring with you anywhere. So I do like the size of the palette and the portability as well. So the first shade we have is Topaz, and this I use as a highlight color. So I typically use this beneath my brow bone and in my inner corner. Now when I was doing the swatch of this, I was actually kind of surprised because it came off a bit patchy on my arm, but I've never had that issue when I apply it to my eye. I actually really like this color. I find that it's very, very pigmented, which is what I typically look for in a highlight shade. Again, I'm never really blending this into like my crease or anywhere on my eye. I'm only using it beneath the brow bone or the inner corner. So I don't typically look for products there that are super easy to blend, but I look for products that are super pigmented, and I do find that this shade is very pigmented, and I do like using it as a highlight color. Up next we have Quartz, and I'm actually going to talk about Quartz and Tiger's Eye together. They are both the shimmer shades that she has in the palette, and I kind of have the same feelings on both of them. The colors are very pretty, but I don't find them to be very pigmented. With both of these shimmer shades, I have to first put Max Fix Plus or some water on my brush to really get them to go onto the eye and look pigmented. Without that, I feel like they look very dull on the eye. Again, they're very pretty colors, but the pigmentation on these is just not there. But if you do apply Max Fix Plus or water to your brush, they will apply nicely and stay on the eye well without tons and tons of fallout, which I do really like. Then we have Jasper. This is a matte shade, and this shade I wanted to like to really define the crease out, but I found it to be a little bit chalky and kind of patchy and not super easy to apply. It is pigmented. Pretty much all of the matte shades are pigmented, but this one I found to be chalky and patchy, so I don't find myself using it that much. Then in the middle here we have Citrine, which is one of my favorite colors in the palette. I love this as a warm neutral blending color. It's matte, it's very pigmented and very easy to blend out. It blends super easily onto the eye and is a really great color to use as a transition or neutral blending color. Next to that we have Goldstone, which is probably one of my favorite colors in the palette. Again, matte, super pigmented, super easy to blend out. I use it in the crease very often. It's a very nice kind of neutral with a little bit of warm tones blending color. If you really like warm neutral colors, I think this palette is great for you, which I typically do, so I do really like these two shades. They're bomb. I use them in the crease all the time. Then in this last row right here, we have our darker mattes, which typically could be used as definer shades. This last row, she did a really good job with. I have to be honest, all of these shades are super, super pigmented and super easy to blend out. Like, especially these two really dark ones. They are in the shades Bronzonite and Hematite. I'm probably like totally butchering them. These are so pigmented, you guys, which I hate when I buy palettes that have like these dark shades, especially like a matte black like this, and then it's barely pigmented. You have to work it up so much and then it's falling out all over your eyes, and these are so pigmented. One little drop of the brush and they're really gonna come out super, super well. So these shades I was very, very impressed with, and this shade as well on the end in Obsidian. They're all very pigmented, very easy to blend out. I typically use them as definer shades, so I don't actually put them in the crease. I'll more use them like around the lash line or my lower lash line. So I'm not blending them out like significantly, but the pigmentation on them I think is really, really great, and I do really like these shades. This last row I think she did a really, really good job with. So overall, there are things that I love about the palette and things that I don't. I think she could add a mirror. I think she could also put the names of the shadows on the inside of the palette. I also think that the shimmer shadows, the pigmentation and quality of them could be increased, but besides that, I do really like the palette. I think it's really nice. If you're into warm tone neutrals like I am, I think this is a great palette. I do think she did a good job of really thinking it out, which I really love, because I find like I can do an entire eye look with this palette and not have to dip into anything else. So if you travel frequently or you're kind of just a one palette, staple palette kind of girl, I would suggest giving this a try. I do think that it is a good palette and that she did do a good job. So yeah, those are my final thoughts. I did use it to do my entire eye look today. Not sure if I told you guys that yet or not. I can do a whole tutorial with it if that's something that you're interested in. Just give this video a thumbs up and let me know down below, and I'll be sure to do that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in my next video. Bye.